Welcome to the Reverberations podcast, where we explore the human experience and the journey of self-discovery. What's good, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Reverberations. In our last episode, dear friend of mine, inner alignment mentor, and rite of passage retreat facilitator Jessica Vignol shared what it means when we are true to ourselves and how we can create real lasting change, and also touched upon the principle of sacred reciprocity. It was such a beautiful conversation that opened up the medicine of the heart. And that's exactly what we're going to expand into in this episode. The medicine of the heart, the medicine of love, the amplification of love, and what that can bring into our life. What is possible within and throughout when we give ourselves permission to open our heart, to receive, to breathe, to weave love into existence in the present moment, to be the living evidence, to be the love that we wish to receive. When we walk the path of our heartfelt desire, our soul's yes, our most intimate and expansive vision begins to show up. We begin to show up as it. As we are magnetized by our curiosity, we are guided by a force that works behind the scenes. Synchronistic encounters of the infinite kind begin to show up for us. There are two quotes that I'd like to share. One that I've shared many times that my dad gifted me with, by Florence Scovel Shinn. Miracle shall follow miracle, and wonders shall never cease. And the other by William H. Murray was shared by one of my dearest friends in creation, Rosie Leslie, who will also be on a future episode. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits to oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issued from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamed would have come his way. In this episode, I share how love has its way, how it shows up on time and on purpose, how it's written in the fabric of the cosmos. And when we drink our own medicine, taste the fruits of our labor, listen to our own wisdom, practically apply it, radically trust in the process, the divine orchestration, we embody the frequency of love within and radiate it throughout. It permeates, it pervades, it reverberates, it echolocates. Over the past few episodes, there's been mention of Arcadia, Festival of a Better World. In this episode, I want to share an Arcadian love story of synchronicity, magic, personal alchemy, devotion, active listening, integrity, grace, and sacred union. And first, I have to go back to July 2019, where I recognized a pattern that led to years of unhealthy relating and not honoring myself, my truth, my purpose. So I made a commitment to myself to honor, to value, and listen deeply to my nervous system, and initiate action steps to support my favorite self and conscious evolution, to remember, to revitalize my natural vibrancy, to restore harmony within and throughout, to activate and express my inner fire, to fully step into my masculinity, to dissolve the unhealthy ego, to no longer betray my authentic self, to accept all of me, to vaporize my tendencies of people-pleasing, to be the living evidence, to lead and serve and embrace the fire within, to make love with the moment, to be at peace in love. With all of that at the forefront of my awareness, I decided that I would get away from the noise, that I would tune in with my nervous system. So I set out on a 2-week road trip with my kids out to Yellowstone National Park before I ventured off to Rishikesh, India for a month-long study of Nadi Yoga. One of the main reasons that I wanted to go to Yellowstone is that it's one of the largest supervolcanoes in the world. For me, the significance was tapping into the fire within, to be present in one of the world's hotspots right beneath my feet. what better place to go to embody all of what I was calling in? One of the other places that was coming forward for me was the Tetons. The rough, rugged peaks rising from the alpine lakes were the epitome of the divine masculine. I just felt that I needed to go there. There was something there for me. Plus, I really wanted to go backcountry hiking, and the Tetons were it. And I had no idea that they were 45 minutes south of Yellowstone. Just synchronicity after synchronicity just continued to show up on our trip. When we got to our camp spot at Madison Campground in Yellowstone, right beside our parking spot of where we were pitching our tent, there was this beautiful pine tree. My daughter goes up to it. She's like, "Dad, come over here. Check this out." And I go over and look, and carved into the tree is this heart. And the heart looked just like the Amplify Your Love logo. The reminders just continued to show up one after another that love always has its way, and always. After 3 days of camping, though, everybody was ready to go home, except for me. I still had the calling to go to the Tetons. So I made a compromise with everybody. Let's just go there and see what happens. We don't have to camp there. We don't have to stay if we don't want to. Let's just go down there and feel into it. So we packed up the car, literally had every square millimeter occupied. We get down to Jenny Lake, the infamous backdrop reflecting in the water before us. Just so beautiful. Just the majestic presence was so captivating. I was just in awe every moment. From every direction, from every angle, there was just this beauty, this magic that was just felt so deep within. After we walked around the edges of the Jenny Lake Trail, we went over to the Taggart Lake trailhead, just to have one last hike before heading home. As crazy as it might seem, I really wanted to see a grizzly bear in the wild. It just seemed to represent everything that I was moving through, expanding into the power of the bear, the spirit, the essence of bear energy, the totem, its power. Well, needless to say, we're about a quarter mile in. We come around a corner and bam, right in front of us, about 15 feet in front of us, here's this bear, just chilling on the side of the trail, eating some berries, turns its head, looks right up at us. At first, I thought it was a bison. It was huge. Obviously, we made the decision to turn around and head back to our car. And when we get to the parking lot, right in front of my car, there was this wet spot. It had rained a little bit earlier in the day, though everything in the entire parking lot was dry except for this one spot, which was shaped like a heart. And I could feel that there was a significance to this. And it'll make sense later as to why this is so integral in this journey of remembering. Then we got back the day before. I was heading to India for my trip to rewire, remap, and remember the essence of my passion, my purpose. And while I was there, I just happened to experience the beginning of an extended dark night of my soul, where the deepest and darkest moments were also met with the most expansive, divinely orchestrated, and heartfelt connection to my soul's yes, of where what I knew to be true was up to me. And along the banks of the Ganga, I vowed to live by the mantra of better together. I was always guided by gratitude, of being grateful for all of the magic that shows up. And it became so apparent in the gratitude for having these synchronistic moments, for having these magical experiences that are divinely orchestrated, continue to reveal themselves. It's like walking the yellow brick road. And when I came back from India, they continued to happen. And I began laying out the trajectory for opening a wellness center and to breathe life into all the things that bring me the greatest joy, to be at peace in love, to live, love, laugh, to be it, to live it, to love it. And at the very essence of that, I knew that if I took care of myself, everything else would take care of itself. I wrote that in my book back in 2008. It All Begins With You, which was a love story for myself that if I ever forgot where I was on my journey or forgot who I am, I could tune in to the steps to remember the essence of who I am. And when we take care of ourselves, then everything else around us begins to be a reflection of that. The more that we value and appreciate and nourish and support our heartfelt desire, our soul's yes, our most intimate and expansive vision, everything else around us begins to shine a little bit brighter. Our relationships are enhanced. Our lens of how we see the world is a little bit more clear. The way we walk has a little bit different swagger to it, a casual confidence. And I began feeding all of the things that were near and dear to my heart. My writing, poetry, my music, my sound healing, my integrative wellness and coaching practice. Because the essence of my why is being of service to supporting others remember who they are, to express their passion, to embody their purpose, to emanate presence, to embrace the fire within, to be the love that we wish to receive, and to support a more sustainable and harmonious co-creative experience for all. When I came back from India, I was on fire, ready to take on the world. And welcome to the pandemic. The next 3 years would provide the perfect container to deepen in to the work and the creative exploration to make all of my dreams come true. So during these 3 years of dropping in and really feeling into myself, really deeply loving who I am at the core, experiencing myself, being with myself, loving myself within mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And I knew that if I wanted to experience all that I desired, my heartfelt desire, if I really wanted to live the life that I knew to be true, my soul's yes, if I wanted that intimate and expansive vision to become a reality here in the physical form, I knew that it began within. So these 3 years really provided me the opportunity to put these into action, because I knew that in order to lead others, we must first lead ourselves. In order to love another and to experience a healthy lovership, we must love ourselves, respect ourselves, and value and appreciate who we are at the core. And I'm not saying it was easy. It was a rigorous 3 years of really uncovering, pulling back the layers, continuing to ask myself the questions of why repeated patterns were showing up, of what I could do to be a better human, a better partner, a better father, a better friend, a better leader, what I could do to optimize my human experience, to open my heart to, like what Charles Eisenstein says, to a more beautiful world that our heart knows is possible, to truly be better together. When we open to that space and give ourselves permission to live the life that we know to be true, to love ourselves through it, to be the love that we wish to receive, to no longer be in victim consciousness or to hold ourselves back, to become fully alive, to not just exist, to really fully participate in life, miracle after miracle begins to show up. And this is a story of how love came to light, how it was divinely orchestrated, of when we shed our insecurities, our doubts, our limiting beliefs, our unhealthy attachments, and take personal responsibility and accountability for our role in this human experience and show up as love and say no to anything that's not it. Because not everyone or everything gets access to our temple. And it's not to be guarded, because we do have to take a risk to go on the other side of fear, to experience the love that we know to be true. So to take it back to Arcadia, this is exactly what happened. There was a moment of where I was being called out as far as not showing up, of not opening my heart, of not remaining open to the infinite possibilities that were available. I was in my own protective little bubble of picking and choosing the moments of where I was showing up, where I would participate. So the love story began when I started saying yes to expanding into the fullness, fully alive, fully open to what's available, for me. And I knew that it required my participation. It required me to show up. So as I've joked about in previous episodes where I was literally in my basement for a majority of the pandemic, working from home or either at the studio. And one of my friends, Katie, was telling me about this festival that was going to have Matthias and Charles at it. Though at that time, it really didn't register to me. And then a couple of months later, I see it on Aubrey's Instagram and I see the flyer and I'm like, oh my God, it's literally everybody that I want to see. I have to be here. And then I saw that it was going to be in Alpine, Wyoming, right by the Tetons. So at that point, when I saw that it was going to be there, there was this pull, there was this subtle tug, there was this energetic that was moving through me that was so palpable, this magnetic attraction that was pulling me in to the vortex of being at Arcadia. There were some things that were holding me back from going, though for every no that I had, there was a yes, there was a greater yes, a more expansive yes that dissolved any of the limiting beliefs. So I said yes. I signed up. And upon signing up, one of the beautiful things that Fit for Service has is they have an app for all of the members. And within that app, there's a discussion group specifically for people going to Arcadia, because a lot of people were going there solo and traveling in. So to figure out camping arrangements, to figure out carpooling, to introduce each other, to share intentions and our why. So this community that was growing, this energetic that was being expressed was so beautiful. The community that was coming together in loving support of one another. And one of the members had posted a video on there welcoming everybody to Alpine Valley, to where it was going to be held. So I reached out to that member and said, thank you for posting that. It's really beautiful to witness where we're going to be coming into. And the members were connecting with one another, following each other on Instagram, on SoundCloud, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and really building just this network of cohesiveness. So I linked up with a bunch of people on their social media, and she happened to be one of them. And there was some casual conversation, no flirting or no showing of, there's an interest, a romantic interest of any sorts, just friendly communication or acknowledging a post that we put up or something that we shared. And then when the pivot happened from Wyoming to Las Vegas, there was literally no desire for me to go to Vegas. There was some talk that some of the speakers weren't going to be there. There was some talk that some of the musicians weren't going to be there. And then the logistics of my prior arrangements that I had, my travel, my rental car, my camping, though I continued to just sit with it and I didn't make any abrupt decisions or anything. I just sat there and I listened, and continually my heart just continued to be drawn, not to the location, to the experience, to something beyond the beyond form. I felt in the fibers of my being that something would unfold there. And it had nothing to do with finding a person or a partner or love. It was about me dancing my ass off. It was about me tuning in to every single vibratory intonation that the speakers presented. To sit at the table of a community of like-minded individuals, amplifying the love in a container of sacred intention, on purpose and on time. So the yes continued to present itself to me. There was never a no, even though I had no desire to go to Vegas. The yes was beyond anything that my functioning mind could process, radically trusting in what was showing up and knowing deeply that something was there for me. And what I felt was that it was for me to become fully alive, to embrace the fire within, to express my passion, to embody my purpose, to emanate presence, to be with a group of like-minded, heart-centered, consciously evolved beings that were here to co-create a more sustainable and harmonious world, a more beautiful world that our hearts know is possible. To be better together. That was my draw. That was the tug that spoke to me, that resonated so deeply in every cell of my being. One of the gifts that moving to Vegas brought is that every year I choose to go to a national park that I haven't been to. So it gave me the opportunity to go to Zion, full moon in Zion, the day before the festival began. And it gave me an opportunity to be able to have a ceremony to dial in to my human experience, what I desired, what the most heartfelt desire to activate my soul's yes in such a beautiful landscape. And I ended up going there with a dear friend, Morton, from Norway, that I met through the app that was staying in our Airbnb, picked him up, and we had this amazing conversation on the way, so much so that we actually missed the exit and drove about an hour out of our way. But it was so divinely timed that it gave us an opportunity to really connect with each other, to build that bond of brotherhood, that heart-to-heart connection. And when we went into Zion, into the Narrows, he supported in the prayer and in the ceremony that I held to release what was no longer in service and to say yes to what my heart knew was possible. And after the ceremony, he looked over at me and he was like, "So you ready to call in partnership?" I said, "I'm a man on a mission right now." And he was like, he kind of gave me like that Norwegian side eye, like, "Yeah, okay, whatever, bro." For me, the most important thing is to honor what I'm of service to the more beautiful world that I know is possible, to a more sustainable and harmonious co-creative experience for all. That is my priority, to express my passion, to embody my purpose, to be fully present and available, and to not lose sight of that. Because that's what I had done previously, so I was so intent on not getting in my own way. So much so that I was actually holding myself back from experiencing the things that I desired, because my most dominant thought was of self-preservation. Though what unfolded over the next couple of days proved to me that love always has its way, that love's intelligence is far greater than any mental construct. And now I want to share the magic, the beauty, the alchemy that unfolds when we release our fears, when we confront what holds us back, when we acknowledge our story, when we witness our patterns, when we say no to limitation, when we say yes to expansion, when we break through and crack the code, rip off the Band-Aids, become so vulnerable in our truth, and expose our heart for the world to witness, for love to enter. And I kept on trying to say no to it. I kept on trying to run away from it. After Aubrey's first speech on the first day of the festival, Savage was playing, who is the one that I really wanted to see. And right at the beginning of his set, I'm standing there in the back of the room and two women post up right in front of me. And this woman starts dancing and I'm like, holy crap, she dances just like me. Moves just the way that I do. Just feeling into it, embodied in full expression. And I was like, I think I know who this is. But I didn't want to bust out my phone and like look at Instagram or look at the app and try to compare, because I'm not really good at that. It's hard for me to recognize people. I'm not the best with facial recognition. So I just passed on it. And I would be lying if there wasn't some sort of magnetic attraction that was there. And come to find out later in the day that it was the same woman that posted the video about it being in Wyoming and welcoming us to Alpine. And we had messaged that night and made plans to connect the next day. And we connected for a moment, said hello. But my running thing was, I got to meet up with my Airbnb group, because I was still in that space of fear. I was still in that space of self-preservation, of not wanting to expose myself, because my intention of being there was to dance my ass off, to listen to the speakers, to absorb the knowledge and the information. And just to put this in context, I wasn't only not open to her, I was also not open to expanding outside of my own group. So I was recognizing that I wasn't fully participating. And I was called out on it by my group. And it really hit me that others could see that I was picking and choosing the moments of where I wanted to participate. So I made a commitment that I would show up, that I would connect with others, that I would dance with my eyes open, because I had my eyes closed for the first 2.5 days. And there was nothing wrong with that. That was me feeling myself, really loving my body, loving the way that I moved, loving the way that I could feel the energy move through me, feel the sound within. Though I also recognized that there was still a bit of fear of being seen, or seeing how others perceived me, that maybe I would be judged. And I was seeing how this was showing up in other areas of my life, because how we do one thing is typically how we do anything, regardless of whatever category it is in the wheel of life. in finances, in family, in intimate partnership, in job performance, in health, you name it. So I was seeing how there was marginalized success in some of these areas because of how I wasn't allowing myself to fully step in, to become fully alive, to allow love to have its way again, to amplify the love. And this is what I knew to be true. This is how I live. This is what I coach people on. And I wasn't showing up as it fully. And that's okay. Though when there's a recognition part of seeing that and recognizing that that's what's holding me back from truly experiencing what I know to be true, from truly experiencing what I desire, from truly embodying my soul's yes, my purpose, from truly being present, from truly embracing the fire within, then there's an action step for me. There's an invitation. There's an opening for me to say yes, to move through the blockages, to move through the limitations, to move through the resistance, to lean in to what is possible. And when Charles gave his talk, he spoke to all of that. I felt so called out. It was as if he was speaking directly to me, and it was exactly what I needed to hear. And then he had an exercise before he went into Kali Mudra, and we pointed to the brightest star in the sky and silently spoke what we desired to experience. Our biggest dream, everything that we've ever wanted to experience in this lifetime. No limitations. All 1,300 of us locked into the frequency of our heartfelt desire, our soul's yes, our most intimate and expansive vision. The energy was so thick, was so palpable, was so rich. I felt it in every cell of my being. I felt the activation. I received what I transmitted. There was a harmonic convergence of what I know and what I desire and what is here and what is available. This subtle jolt to my system of being fully alive in the moment. And he asked us to open our eyes and hug the person in front of us, and then asked us to turn around and hug the person behind us. And I turned around, and there she was, the woman that shared the video welcoming to Wyoming, the woman that was dancing in front of me during Savage, the woman that I said that I would go and say hello to the next day. And we locked eyes and nodded, affirming our connection, and held each other in what will forever be known as the embrace. It was so undeniable in that moment. And then when we pulled away, I got a little nervous and I was like, yeah, I got to go find my group. You got to go by. It's like, okay. Oh my God. Just thinking about that cracks me up. So I go collect my group all together and we go back and we're dancing. And they're like, hey, let's go up to the front row. It's our last night. Let's get after it. So we're walking up there and I'm kind of behind the group. We get up to the front and who's right there? There she is, right next to me. So I go behind her and I'm like, I absolutely love the way you dance. And once again, the nerves, it was like my soul knew that something was going on and my mind was trying to process it. For some reason, I was still nervous. I was still in my head. So I was like, I got to break out for a minute. I'm going to go fill up my water bottle. I'll be right back. The thing is I never did come back. I actually found the most inconspicuous spot, the golf simulator bar, sat up there and I had a glass of wine and I contemplated my life. What the fuck am I doing? What am I doing here? Why am I not showing up? What am I so scared of? This is all on me. There's nothing outside of me that's holding me back. What are you going to do about it? The universe is presenting things for you and you're not showing up. You continue to be called out left and right. Obviously, there's something here for me. So I made a commitment that I'm going to get my ass back out there and I'm going to show up fully alive and available for what's for me and say yes to life in all ways. Because in reality, as I was saying, everything in my life my friendships, my family, my career is all riding high, though welcoming the possibility of connection into my life is where I had my guard up. So that next day, I made a commitment. After breaking through, of completely dissolving my fear, of no longer saying yes to my no's, of no longer giving power to what's been holding me back, to amplify my love, to live the life that I've known to be true before giving my power away, before not honoring my truth. So that next day, I opened up the dialogue, fell into the discomfort, and leaned in casual conversation without any expectation of just simply getting to know someone, giving myself permission to explore what may even be on the other side of that fear. And that conversation led to another conversation, which led to another conversation, which led to a conversation of where we asked each other, is there something more to this than just a casual connection? Are you feeling that same desire to explore what's available to us? We began to share just how magical this connection was, how it wasn't just some chance meeting, that literally our souls have been weaving this together. And I shared how I was avoiding it the entire time, yet my soul knew. My soul knew what my heart truly desired. And the part that I really want to share is what unfolded once we said yes to each other, to this love, to this magic that's available for us. Because the beauty began with being magnetized by the curiosity, where the connection was rooted, it was grounded, it was present. There was no over-sexualized energy of where the bond was purely physical. There is this divine intelligence that I'm so incredibly grateful for. And what we share is that the baseline of our connection is the gratitude for how this showed up, for how it wove into the fabric of our experience, and that our conversations are a priority of where we are deeply tuned in to our heartfelt desire, to our needs, where there's a shared value, a shared honor, a shared appreciation, and an acknowledgement for what each brings to this partnership. Because love, at the very essence, is a creative energy, one that births the miraculous. And when it's rooted in reverence and held in that sacred container, we show up differently. We walk with gratitude. There is no expectation to change. Love's alchemy is to be the living evidence of our favorite self and to inspire that in each other. It's not to bond through our trauma or to seek approval in another or to externalize our experience for gratification or to attach our identity and worth to things outside of ourselves, to our partner. It's not about being perfect, as true intimacy draws us in, invites us to destroy the image of what we thought we knew, and give permission to the infinite, expansive mystery of what is possible, to draw from the infinite reservoir of the eternal now, and thirst for experience, to be vulnerable and reveal, to peel back the layers, to be who we are without reservation, so that we are so comfortable within our own skin, while also having the uncomfortable conversations when they come forward. To know that we are safe, to know that we are secure in that space to be able to navigate what comes forward. And that's a baseline to establish right from the very beginning. And when we sanctified our relationship, Aleah and I vowed to hold that as our baseline, that this is always a safe space to be able to express our truth without judgment, because we should never hide or hold back. As healthy relationships, the greatest gift is to experience liberation. There's no settling, and we're all in. And we do it differently than we've ever done it before, because what happened in the past is the past. It's no longer a model of success. There's no repeating the patterns of what didn't work. It's being willing to be open, to be the perpetual student, to learn about your partner, to listen to your partner, to live with integrity, and to not blame the other or make excuses of why we're not showing up. And if we need help, to ask for it, to be honest with ourselves and face any conflict head on, regardless of the severity, and to not wait, to meet it head on, to do it now, and to have fun, to dance through life with each other, to be awkward and to be okay with it, and to give ourselves room for that. Give ourselves room to not be perfect, because what we attempt to control controls us. When we open to the possibilities of what we never thought was possible or what we always desired to be, it begins to show up. And to not rush in and to have patience with it, to trust, radically trust, because how isn't our job? It's unfolding for us. What it does require is our participation. We simply have to ask for what we want, to be absolutely clear. So for those of you out there that are desiring to enter into lovership, my invitation is this, is don't write out all of the things that you want in a partner. Write out how you want to feel. How do you want to feel when you're in their presence? How do you want to feel when you communicate with them? How do you want to feel when you're not with them? Our nervous system is such an indicator of what is right for us. I said that I wanted to be at peace in love. And with Aleah, that's exactly what I have. And I'm so incredibly grateful for that. Are we willing to do something different than we've always done, even if it brushes up against our fears, makes our stomach churn, our knees buckle, our voice shake? Because setting the energy of desire in motion proclaims that we're worthy of what we desire, of what we know to be true. We embody the creative life force at a fundamental level beyond thought. Again, how isn't our job? We're a living, breathing, orgasmic force bursting at the seams, releasing every bit of our creative bliss, leading us to a deeper embodied feeling of peace, contentment, and joy. Our desires are a reflection of what we inherently value. They are the energetic currency that builds the framework, initiates inspired action, and impregnates the moment with our soul's, yes, our heartfelt desire, so that we manifest our most intimate vision in the moment. Desire is risky. Are we worth its reward? And that's a question that I had to ask. To get out of my own way, to explore my desires, of what I knew that I wanted to experience. Because change, transformation, alchemy, it's the great work. And we crave a better way, a more proficient way, deeper connection, belonging, peace, joy, love. So many want the fire, but won't go get the wood. Many want others to dig the pit, to get the wood, to start the fire, to stoke the flames, so they could bask in the light. But it's not sustainable. We have to look within to get the wood, so we could start the fire and embrace our truth, our purpose, our passion. And it begins with devotion, a ritual to serve our souls, yes, our heartfelt desire, and our most intimate and expansive vision with passion, with purpose, with presence. It's a commitment that's less of a mental construct and more of a relentless service to our favorite self, one in which we attend 1,000 funerals to a version of ourself that doesn't line up with what we know in our heart to be true within and throughout. It's not what we attach our desires to. Rather, an initiation that invites us to embrace our inner fire. We become the torchbearer of our own life, while lighting the pathway for higher realities beyond our limited mental capacity. It's not a directive for others. Rather, it's an incentive to experience our own divinity. It's a delicate dance between what we think we know and the unthinkable. Devotion is making love with each breath. And when we do that, we change our world. we show up, and love has its way, in all ways, every day. And the reason that I share this whole story of how I had to get away from the noise, of how I had to confront all of the mental blockages, of all of the resistance, of all of the ways that I was holding back, and to go deep into that dark night of the soul and see all of the ways that I wasn't saying yes to myself, to harmonize my mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical well-being, so that what I truly desired to experience in this incarnation, in this life, would show up. Because life isn't happening to us, it's happening for us. And we listen to the subtle tugs, the synchronistic events that show up. Life breathes inspiration. There's no coincidence that our inhale is the inspiration. And when we radically trust, the way is paved for us. So why not you? Why not now? Because when we show up for ourselves, all in, embodying what it is that we desire, leaning into the discomfort, witnessing where our opportunities for growth are, and not holding back from them, rather rising with love, and as love, and through love, and in love. And one of the reasons that I wanted to share this story is because for many of us, we settle for what is not in alignment. We give our heart away out of loneliness, or we hold back out of insecurity, or we stay out of fear. It's time to rise above all of that and meet ourselves. For when we give ourselves the space and we witness and we listen and we observe and we tune in with our nervous system, with our heart, love has its way with us. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to show up in partnership, to be of service to love with Aleah. For there's nothing better than to be at peace in love. And if you're in partnership, what are ways that you can honor yourself, honor the container, honor your partner, and activate that sacred yes, so that love has its way in all ways, because we truly are better together. If this podcast resonated with you, or if you feel that there's someone that would, please pass it on. That's what Reverberations is all about, echoing a message that resonates within. And if you or anyone that you are connected with is feeling disconnected from passion, purpose, stuck in a feedback loop of repeating patterns that aren't providing results that are in alignment with what you desire, let's free up some bandwidth, open up the possibilities, and embrace the fire within. Visit Embrace the Fire Within, select a time to connect, and I look forward to our conversation. Have an amazing day. Love you all.
My soul already sees you. I already know you're there. You're here within. You're everywhere. I merge with you. I breathe with you. As you.